This is the user guide walkthrough for Proforms. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to proforms.rics.org and you're going to see this login page. And as you can see, we're met with 4 different login options. We can log in with RICS, with Facebook, with Twitter, and with Google. So once you've picked your selected method of login, select the relevant button. And it's worth noting every time you log in, you will want to log in with the same provider as your account is now linked to that provider. So I've got an account with Google. I'm already logged in. So I'm met with this homepage with a list of my previously created reports. But let's pretend that we're a new user. So when you log in for the first time, you'll actually be met with this page. And there'll be a number of fields that you need to fill in, and they'll be indicated by this red circle that indicates it's mandatory. So the terms and conditions, we can click here, and if we're happy with them, we can click accept, and the icon, the circle will go green. We've got our first name and last name that we need to populate. We've got telephone number and company name that are also required. We've got a few optionals here: address, email, website, etc. And if you choose to populate these, then they may well show on the reports that you generate if you choose to show them. The email will also, if you create a report, it will send you an email just letting you know that you have a new report ready. So moving down, we can see company logo. I've added our logo here, and if you want to add a signature, you can take a photo of your signature and you can add that. And again, you can optionally add that to the report. Qualifications is the same. You can add them, and finally, you're going to need to add your membership number. So once they're all filled in, we're going to press Save Changes at the bottom, and again, you'll be brought back to the home page. So we can run through this page quickly now. So first thing to look at is maybe one of the reports. So we can see here they're divided into periods of time. So yesterday I created a report at 21:09, and we can see this is the reference number generated by Proforms. It's based on my initials and the date and the time I generated it. Got the type of report. It looks like this was an RHS level 2 report. This is the client reference that we'll talk about in a minute. This is the postcode. This is the state of the report, which is a draft. Then we've got these 2 buttons on the right here. We can delete a report, or we can press edit report, and it will take us in and we can start editing the report. We can filter this list. We can filter by report type, by status, and if a user has shared their account with you, you can also choose to filter by that. So you can see we have this icon here that indicates this is a shared report, and when you move over it, it will show the name of who's shared. So that's a useful feature. So let's talk about generating a new report, creating a new report. So the first thing you need to do if you're a new user is you need to go to account here, and we're going to need to add our license keys. So we go to license keys, and we can see that I've got license keys added here and here for level 2 and level 3. It shows me the expiry date. I want to add one here, I can, and also I can delete a license key. And then once you press Save Changes, that will be applied straight away. So we're back on the reports page. What we can do now is we can press this big white new button in the top left, and this is where we can create a new report. So I'll press that. And I'm met with this overlay, and we can see we've got 3 active reports. The level 2 and 3 reports that I had licenses for, and we've got the inactive level 1 because I didn't have a license. But if I want to add it, I could add it here. So let's have a go at creating a level 3 report. So I've clicked level 3. We have a brief blurb here about the report. We have a reference number that we talked about on the reports page, automatically generated, and this is only stored within Proforms, so your client will never see this reference number. So report owner, again, if a user's chosen to share their account with you, we could create on their behalf, but I'm just going to create on my behalf, John Smith. We can add the client reference, whatever you might want that to be. Maybe it's a postcode or an address, or maybe you'll have your own reference numbers that you'd like to use. So I'll just put that in there for the moment. We can use this to look up an address. So I'll just put an address in, type the postcode in, click find address, and just choose an address at random, and you can see it gets populated below. And you can also choose to enter manually if you're not able to find the address. So that's all populated now. So we can click create report. We can either do that at the bottom of the page or at the top of the page. Once we've pressed M, that will generate the report. So let's press create. And we're now in the report. So let's just run through this page. On the left here, we've got the type of report, we've got the reference number, we've got the client reference that we added, and we can also modify that here if we want to. We've got below that, this is the table of contents that we can use to navigate to other pages of the report. So we can either use the left and right arrows to change page, or we can press all steps below, just below where it says about the property, all steps, and we can skip to a page. And you see if a page has lots of sections, then we're also able to skip to that section on that page. So if I want to go to drainage quickly, I can just press drainage, and drainage is now at the top. So we can also navigate through the report using these buttons here, and also using these buttons down the bottom. So they all do the same thing. They do the same thing as this. So that's how you navigate. We can, if we have a look at the header here, we've got exit, that will take us back to the home page. Delete, we'll delete the report. Save. Download the draft that we'll talk about later. That's how you download a quick PDF version of the report, not necessarily the final article. And publish for when you're happy with the report and you want to kind of officially publish it, and that will remove any draft watermarks from the generated PDF. Finally, we've got the phrase book. We'll talk about this later, but you can press this button and it will show you the phrase book, but we'll run through that later. So let's have a look at navigating. Let's have a look at populating a report. So what types of inputs have we got? We've got single line input, fairly self-explanatory. This one here, so easy enough. We've got the date fields, so you can click on the field or on the little calendar and you can enter a date. So we'll do that. We've got the report reference number, you can see is not editable as it's just used within Proforms. We've got the address, we've got multi-line, line 1, line 2. We've got our checkboxes, which allow us to do various things. So here we can, if we don't like the front page image, we can choose to hide that. We'll add the company logo because we added that in our profile. We don't have the signature, so I'll leave that blank. So we have rich text inputs that we can use, which I'll show you now. So this is text. So these fields let us be a bit more descriptive in we can make them bold and italic, and we can add headings and numbers. So that gives you a few more options. We're able to add rows to tables here. So this one, for example, documents we may suggest you request before you sign contracts. So it'll be a list of documents. So document 1. Maybe I'd have document 2. And if I want to delete a document, we can just press this little delete icon. And we can obviously save at any time. That's how they work. So the accommodation box is a unique one. So we'll run through that now. So we can see it's been divided up into floors. So we've got all these different floors, and we can add the number of rooms on each floor. So let's say we're on the ground floor. Click ground. And there's a living room, maybe a kitchen, a bathroom and a conservatory. And we'll go on the first floor, we'll add some bedrooms, but maybe you can't find the field that you want to add. So there's also this other rooms field on each floor. And you can highlight over here just to see some info. So basically what this field allows us to do is add custom text. So maybe there's a study. So we could add a study. Maybe there's an ensuite as well. We'll add that. And you can do that for each floor. So if something's not being covered by the available options, then you always have other rooms as well. So that should cover everything. Okay, what other fields have we got? Let's keep moving through the report. We need to look at photos. So let's have a look at photos. So you can add up to 10 photos per. You can add up to 10 photos per section. So if we go to here, we could select, number of photos. So let's do that. So that will add 4 photos. But we're also able to caption the photos. Caption 1, caption 3, and so on. So that's up to 10 images per section. And by default, each of these sections, so main walls is a section, each of these sections will default to not inspected. So we can choose, if it has issues or not, no current issues. A few requiring attention in the next few years, or it requires urgent attention, but we can also choose not applicable. And if we choose not applicable, then this section will hide, and within the report, it will say not applicable. In the generated report, it will say not applicable and reduce the text surrounding that section, main walls. So we'll look at that when we generate the report. Okay. I think that's it. So let's have a look. Generating a report. So we'll press save. So let's say I've not finished the report, I'm kind of halfway through, and I want to see how the report's looking. So I can press download draft. So I press download draft. You can see draft is generating, draft report is generating. So that's happening in the background now. And once it's generated, it will load in a new tab. So we can just see it's loaded in a new tab. Now, let's just have a look at this report. So we added the company logo, so we can see that is on the front page. We've got the details that we've added here. got our table of contents. And this is a draft, so every page is watermarked with draft. So that is really the only difference between a draft and a completed report, is that it says draft. So let's go down. Let's have a look at each section, or the important section. So this is where we added our rich text. And we can see here that the reports create these condition ratings, and one of the sections, the 5 main rules, we noted that that was not applicable. So if we scroll down now to D5, I'll just show you. Yeah, in D5, this will now show just not applicable is written in that text box for you. We can look at where we added the photos. We can see we added captions on, I think, 1 and 3. So the captions have been added. So the photos are quite big now. It's up to 2 photos per page. And that's a recent improvement. So this is the generated report. Not sure there's much else to cover there. Okay, just log in. I'm on my test environment. Okay, the next thing I wanted to cover was generating the kind of final version of the PDF. So this was the new report we created. So if I go to edit, let's say we finished the report and we're happy to send it to our client, then we press publish. We're happy with that. We'll go publish report. It does another license check. And we can press publish report at the top or the bottom of the page. So we'll do that now. Takes us back to the home page. The report's generating, and we can see here we've got this spinner that indicates it's generating. So we'll just wait for that to load. And it's loaded, and we can see we've got status of published. And what we can do is we can download that report now. So if we download it, what we're going to see is the same report without the draft written across the back. And that's the final version of the report. However, if you ever feel that you want to revert the report, there's still time. So you can press this button here, revert report, and that will just take the report back to a draft. And you can see it's a draft now. Okay, so the next thing to cover is the phrasebook. So Proforms has a new feature where you can add phrases to your phrasebook, and then you can use them within your report to save time. So currently we have no phrases. We're in phrasebook here on the left. And let's add a new phrase. So select the form type. So I'll select all form types. The sections that are most applicable to this phrase, so you can select multiple. We'll just click a few here. Quick text. So this is the text you're going to see that you're going to use to identify a phrase. So let's just call that example quick text. And then the phrase, this is a much longer piece of text. And this is what's going to be inserted into the report. So we'll press add phrase. We can see this is now available for us to use in our reports. So we've got one phrase, and this page is all about managing your phrases. So when you've got a bigger list and You might want to do some sorting of your phrases. You're able to search here, search through your list. We've obviously only got one. And there's a number of filters here. So you can filter by phrases applicable to certain reports and sections, and sort by date or quick text or phrase. And also you can sort by whether it's a shared phrase. On the topic of shared phrases, you can also choose to add a phrase to someone else's phrase book if they've decided to share their account with you. So let's do that as well quickly. So we'll add into Ben Whitehouse's phrase book. Shared phrase. And you can see here, because it's shared, again, we have this icon that indicates it's shared. We can delete phrases here, and we can obviously edit phrases too. Just like that. So that's how you add phrases and edit phrases and delete phrases. So let's go back into our report and let's have a go at adding a phrase somewhere. Maybe let's add it to related party disclosure. So we'll press the phrase book, and what we can see is we've selected our phrase book by default. We can search the phrases, and what we'll get here is a list of phrases applicable to the current section. So we've only added one, and we made it applicable to about the inspection. So that shows, and you just click where you want to add the phrase, and then you click the phrase, and it gets added. So we can also view all phrases. So for phrasebook, it won't mix phrasebooks up. So although we've got access to Ben Whitehouse's phrasebook, we're only, unless we change here, we're only going to see our phrasebook. So there might be a case where you have a phrase and it's actually normally it's applicable to another section, but you still want to add it to this section. So you could go here and this would show you a huge list of all your phrases. And then let's just have a look if that phrase that we added for our shared users is available. So we didn't apply it to about the inspection or all sections. Let's just have a look. I think that we didn't add it to level 3. So we'll click edit. Yeah, forgot to add it there. So we'll add that. We'll update the phrase. So we were in a level 3 report. And let's just see if it shows now. Yeah, there's the shared phrase. So maybe we're in the shared users report. We'd like to use their phrase, but that's how that would work. Okay, that's a brief overview of the phrase book. Next thing I would like to cover is sharing account access. So if we exit this report, we'll save and exit. Brings us back to our reports page, our home page. And if we have a look on the left here, we've got account. So we'll click account and we have a section here, account sharing. So let's press that. You can see we've got a pending request here. If we want to add a new account, you press share account like I just did. Who are you sharing with? This is your own reference. So whoever you want, this won't be shared with the user. So Joe Blogs, and then we'll just, this is where the invite will go. And we can choose whether we want to share the phrase book or not. I'll click that I want to share it. And that invite has now been sent. So we're just waiting for them to accept that. And then pending will move to active. So that's how you share a report. The next thing is the news articles. So you may get a notification show like this, particularly on your first login. You may have a couple of notifications. So these will show, these are provided by Proforms admins, and they let you know of any news relating to Proforms. So this will continue to show until you look at the news articles. So let's go on Show All News. You can see the articles that have been added, maybe maintenance or new features or something like that. And that's how you view the news. Then if we want to have a look at down the bottom left here, we've got three options: help, contact us, terms and conditions. So the help is a list of Q&As. The contact us will bring up a form where you can ask for assistance. You can add your type of problem, your name and your email and phone, report reference number if you have that. If it relates to a relates to a report, that's very useful. Which browser you are using can be useful, and then you can type in a custom message. We've got the terms and conditions, they're available there. Apart from that, if we click on this red box in the top right with your initials, this is another way to get to your account settings. So it's the same list as here. In account, we've not covered settings. So there's a couple of settings here. So first setting is archived reports. So basically after a set period of time, the reports won't show. That's a setting that you can choose. So if after 12 months you want to hide our reports, then select 12 months. You can also choose how many reports show per page. So maybe we'll change that to 10. And we can see that we've got more reports now, because by default we don't show archived reports. But we've made the archive period a lot longer now. So these buttons show you how you can navigate through the various pages. It's worth noting also that Proforms is now available on tablet and mobile. So that's a new feature that's just come in. And I think that is about it. Just have a look if there's anything else I want to cover. No, I think that's it. So that concludes the demo. Thank you very much.